Hi. Hey everybody. Um yeah, so I'm here. I'm here. And this isn't as, I guess, structured or whatever as much as some of my other ones are, where I have points. I mean, I do have some things in mind, so that I can somewhat make this organized, but I just wanted to get on here and talk about something that I've just been noticing a lot. And I think it's an important conversation. And it's just, yeah, well, I guess I could tell you a little bit about how I got here. I mean, in general, I have noticed this, but within like the past week, probably honestly, I'm not even sure if it was a week ago, but I just happened to have like my YouTube going and things like that. And I saw, through my algorithm, certain things came up. Like I ended up watching some video of a girl who had basically left the same place that I had left earlier this year, the same church that I had left earlier. And so I happened to catch that and I was like, wow, like so just, I watched her testimony. And then I think I was just like listening to music as well and just kind of doing some things, like cooking breakfast or whatever. And I kind of just left it on autoplay. And I think that's how I got there. But then I ended up seeing this video from this woman who had ended up leaving, like the Kingdom Hall, like the Jehovah's Witness thing, and I was intrigued by that because I don't know too much about it. I know some people who are part of it, and I know a little something something, but I didn't know the ins and outs. And so I heard her testimony and things that she shared, and I was just like, yo, like, that's so crazy. Like, why do all these cults basically run the same? It's like you can literally switch and swap. Like, you could have swapped in, you know, where I came from with where she came from in the title, and it like borderline was the same thing. And I'm just like, that's pretty wild how this type of stuff happens. And I think there were similar things that I would see, just all over social media with people who are like not even just like leaving cults or whatever, but they might be leaving um, uh, real like toxic relationships, like like romantic partners that were super like highly problematic or narcissistic. Insert X description, and like there's at least one all the time, or even if you got to leave behind like family members, because I know some, like, a little something something about that, and people who have also been in those circumstances as well. And it's just like there's always one person, and that person or people is what inspired the title for this live, the Cult Apologist. There's always an apologist that is kind of trying to be neutral, but at the same time it's just like, okay, like, you're not helping. You say you understand me, but you don't, and it kind of seems like you seem to be caping for the other person or that organization or those people or what have you. And so I guess really I'm just here to call out an observation. And I do also have other intentions with this live, that hopefully it encourages people who who are leaving their these different situations, to kind of empower you, for people who are kind of at a crossroads. So I'll kind of like hit all of these things. So, but I just want to let y'all know y'all are not crazy. There are going to be a lot of people who make you think that you are. The apologist will make you think that you are. And one of the big things that I want us all to be aware of, that's a tactic of the apologist, or the person that who's kind of playing like the middle person, or the trying to douse fires on behalf of the the abuser or toxic person, is that I had seen that there's people who would say something along the lines of, um, oh gosh, let me get it back. Oh no, this is not the time for me to forget. Oh, they would say, "Oh well, we're all human, we make mistakes." I hear that so much, and I've been like seeing comments online for like just different stuff that see. I see that so much with people who, in response to those that are like leaving really, really like toxic churches or what have you. They say like, "Oh, well, there no one's perfect. No church is perfect. There's always sin and this and that." And it's just like, yeah, but that's not the point. And so I just want to address that, because it's like, I don't know if I don't even know if people that say this actually know what they're doing or not. Like, I'm not sure. Like, their motivations and their thought process aside, you're invalidating these experiences. You know what I mean? And just because you didn't go through it exactly like that, or you're not seeing it that way, really isn't like, it really kind of doesn't give you license to say all that. You know what I mean? Like, so, and I just want to say for myself, included, it's that no one, at least I'll speak for me, and I'm pretty sure this is with a lot of other people who have made similar decisions. It's not even that we were or are expecting perfection. Like, I already know that I got issues, and I probably heard at least one person like I know that. But it's just like, I think, right, the difference between the difference really is that, is the person or people or organization actually willing to change and doing it genuinely, not like this, like, "Oh, I heard you say this and that," and kind of doing this whole, "Okay, baby, I can change" thing, and then they like kind of change for a little bit, and then once you've cooled down and you're not talking about issues anymore, they just kind of revert. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, there's that, and then there's people who, it's just like if I hurt somebody and they came up to me and they were like, "Hey, at least, like, you had me all the way messed up when you did boop boop boop." I'll be like, "Oh, snap, like, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to do that." And like, we try to work it out to see how we could move forward and be at peace and whatever. And that is the thing that was lacking in in the place, that in the organization or the place or the people that people have left. That was the problem. There wasn't real, I want to hear you out, I want to reason with you, I want to see how we can agree, or we could be cordial or whatever. There's none of that. There's just, there's someone who's very stuck in their way, and then there's the other person who says, "You know what? Actually, I don't need to deal with this no more." And then they walk. And then it's really interesting. It's, instead of that person trying to initiate a conversation genuinely, there's all the people on the sidelines who instead just say, "Well, they didn't mean to do that." And they didn't. I'm just like, well, if they didn't mean to do that, then they should be having this conversation with me, and we should be working on a plan or something. You know what I mean? So I've seen that so much, where people are like, "Oh yeah, well, every place is not perfect." I'm just like, we know that. But what what we are looking for, you know, people in my circumstance, or whatever in the spectrum, what we're looking for is someone who's willing to put an effort and try. When no one's really looking for perfection, that's impossible for anybody to be able to do, you know? But they're looking for the person who's actually like validate the person and hear them, and then it's going to say, oh snap, like I've got work to do, because if this has happened to one person, then maybe this is the effect that, I must be having on everybody. You know what I mean? It causes so that's somebody who's in like who's trying to grow, who's trying to advance. There's somebody who's in the mode of repentance, and that's the difference. So I'm not particularly fond of people who are, first of all, I mean, not trying to come at nobody's soul or nothing. I mean, by nature of this conversation, somebody's going to get offended, but it's not my intention to just like come at people. I'm very much a problem solver, where it's just like, take the critique and let's see how we can grow. Um, I just want to say, for a lot of people that do this, and I mean this in the most respectful way possible, but also in a real way, nobody sent for you. People didn't really send for you. So the fact that you are going on this person's behalf, like to be like, oh, this, like, why are you here? Like, if you're not here to actually sit down and hear the person who's deciding to leave or deciding to do whatever, then you're not really like, I mean, hey, I mean, anyone who's watching me live or will watch me afterward, feel free to give me comments about that. But I'm just kind of feeling like you're not even helping. Like, what exactly is your objective here? Like, are you trying to problem solve? Are you trying to hear me? Are you trying to show me that you support me? Or are you just really trying to get me to change my mind about something? And like, what is your, what do you want to do? What do you want to do is really like a question that I would really challenge people with. And again, I really would like to believe that some people's hearts are genuine. And so for anyone who could receive this, if you find yourself doing this, I would, I would encourage you just to really like sit down and think about the impact that you have. And that was something that people would say a lot too. This concept that I've heard of, like, intention versus impact. And think about that. I mean, like, think, yeah, just really think about that. Think about how you're coming off, and if time and time again, when you think that you're showing your support, and you really realize that the people that you're attempting to show support to actually are not taking it well, then take some time to self-reflect. It might not be you, but it really might be you. And are you willing to take that critique? Are you really willing to hear that? And I think that in my experience, the apologist has brought up the intention versus impact thing against me, as to say, like, well, I know that you meant this, but think about the impact. I'm like, honestly, they needed to hear it that way. So you know what I mean? Like, so that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's kind of a hard line. Like, at the end of the day, it's where your heart is. Then once you do this assessment, you'll be good. But some people try to gaslight me and was saying, well, you intended to do that, but the impact was here. I was just like, honestly, if you just want to be toxic and you just mad that I called you out, then that, like, you just like, we can't do you can't do nothing for somebody like that. You just can't do nothing for nobody like that. It's just like, no, you are offended because you got called out, and you're not able to swing certain things with certain people no more. You're mad at the loss of control. You're mad that somebody found you out, and you that's really what. So it again, it's but anyways, for those who are like really, really like genuinely trying to like grow and change and all these things, like, I think I would just caution you to do that, because what you're doing is you're taking away people's experiences and basically telling them that they're wrong. And it's just like, you kind of can't do that. And so yeah, so that's for anyone who can receive that. But just bringing up that point, I do want to encourage y'all that did leave that relationship. Kudos to you. Who left that cult, kudos to you. Who had to separate from those problematic friends, kudos to you. Who had to separate from the problematic friend, well, insert X, you know what I mean? Kudos to you. I'm so happy for you. That job, whatever. I'm so happy for you. And the one thing that my hope and prayer for you is that you do not remain, that this experience does not hang over your head so much to the point that you become guarded, that it ends up, you end up putting these barriers and defenses, um, that it gives you trust issues. I really just pray that that's not how you leave. That you left because you had to. It was harmful for you. You had been um, abused or mistreated in some way, but you know that's not going to dictate your future. As we move forward, we want to be able to learn from our past, but also be able to look forward to a brighter future, and things like that. So I just want to let you know I'm here. I'm here with you in spirit on that, and yeah. And like, let me see, what else can I say about this? Oh, here's a big one. Woo wee! All right, now this one right here. If you've heard nothing so far, this one right here is hot. Don't y'all just hate it when somebody need to make a backstory for the abuser? Oh, no. Well, you know how he was, and he came from a broken home, and it's just like, I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, I am so sorry about all that. You know what I mean? I'm somebody who has a lot of empathy, and I feel a lot. So I feel for people in their backstories, but it's just like, I if it was up to me, I would wish that would never have happened to you, but that does not give you an excuse to continue being how you are. You know what I mean? And I know that, in a previous time, the generations before us, they're they kind of they kind of teach what they know, right? So if they've learned one thing in one generation, they're just kind of gonna keep rehashing it, and it's gonna end up being a generational curse that just like keeps going and going. But in this particular moment in time, where we can really sit down and process, and there's resources out there for us, like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I know for a fact y'all know what's out there. People know what's out there, because I remember in 2020, um, when I was trying to look into mental health and find people and whatever. I remember one day I was trying to get this psych eval done. And like, I couldn't book with nobody. And I said, what happened? So 2020, if anybody was not a believer of therapy or counseling or whatever, they was that year, because baby, you could not find nobody. I was like, yo, why y'all booked? What you mean? Yeah, I remember that time I was trying to get this psych eval, and then and they were just like, they're saying, "Oh yeah, now we're all full with appointments. Why don't you try calling this and that?" And then the same thing kept happening, and then I think I just gave up. I was like, you know what? I don't need this that bad. I'm good. I don't need this appointment that bad. Like, I'll live. But yeah, so we know it's available. We acknowledge and recognize mental health struggles and problems and all these different things. So at this point, if no one actually tries to like work through it, and I'm not saying that you have to get a therapist. I mean, a therapist is an avenue, a counselor is an avenue, um, whatever. But the idea is, you don't have to hold all this stuff in and like just still be set in your ways. There are things out there, and if you really really want to grow, or if you want to heal or whatever, like, it's accessible to you. You just really got to start. You got to start. The first thing is that you're just realizing that there's a problem, or that there's something, you're going through something, and just going after, like, okay, what is it going to take? I need help. because I don't know how to do this. But anyways, I went on a bit of a tangent. Um, but yeah, it's just like this stuff because, oh, they went through this or they went through that, and this is why they no, that's not an excuse. Because had I done that, y'all would have been looking at me like, wow, you ratchet. You why you doing this? Why you doing like so that's the other thing that I just like really take issue with is it's the double standard sometimes too. And sometimes you face this at your church or you face it in your family like I mean like I know that there's a lot of cultures out there that are like very high on like ageism, and so the some elder will get a pass, but not you. No, you gotta be like 110% on point all the time, and it's just like that's not fair. Like you human and I'm human. Like we're gonna make mistakes. Like can I work on that? Like can you work on that? Like it's not fair that you're just expecting me to like whatever. And so like ugh, it's wild, y'all. So, but yeah. So I really am not. I want to break that too. In 2024, like whoever's watching this in 2024, decide that that's not okay. Nobody can give you a sob story about why someone is how they are. Like I think that that gives context about why they might behave a certain way or like certain levels of thinking. I think it helps with the understanding, but it's just like, okay, but you don't got to stay stuck there. I don't agree. I don't know, like, and I've seen stuff online, like when people talk about this particular topic, that some people will really come for your neck. You could fight me all day, all night. I don't accept that. No, I don't accept that. If you recognize it as a problem, yes, perhaps that's going to be something to work through and fight through, so that you can get better and improve and like not fall into like maladaptive thought processes or behaviors. So but it's just like at least commit to the process. Don't just say, well, that's just the way I am. That is the most crazy, like, no, not in 2024. So that's why I want to encourage us that like if you're seeing people just straight up be whatever, and you if you've communicated their impact on you and they're just like, well, that's just how it is, kind of signifying that they don't plan on changing, then go. And if they got moved like, how could you, like, it's just like I try like so I in 2024, I don't want nobody to feel guilty for leaving behind really prideful people, stiff-necked people, problematic people, toxic people, narcissists, etc. I don't want nobody to feel bad about that. And whoever is salty about that, if the shoe fits you, well then yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry to you. But it's either like my hope and my prayer is that like we gonna leave these people behind. It's just like no, you if you we gotta let y'all pay the penalty of some of this stuff, because and that's the only way y'all gonna change. Like I hope and pray that you can let go of your hard heartedness, like but you gonna get left in 2024. These people gotta get left, and and for them to learn, like and that's the thing too. With us being able to present certain boundaries, it's helpful to us, but I think it's helpful to the person that's kind of struggling with this, right? Because one of the big things that I learned over the course of a few years now and some change is about not being an enabler. You know what I mean? Like, don't enable these things to happen. And honestly, the best case scenario of that is that if you decide not to be an enabler, that maybe that person actually might sit down and think about what they did and they would actually change, and then they can come back to you healed, and that can actually be reconciled. You know what I mean? But that was one of the things that I had to learn, is that nobody was going to change if I just kept saving them. No one was going to change if I just kept accepting. And I had to be real with myself about my experiences and be like, you know what, actually, like, this isn't good. You know what I mean? And for any of you who like can resonate with this too, like, Y'all ever get so anxious or so stressed out under the, under these situations so much that you start getting, like, your physical health starts getting messed up? Like, my stomach turned so much out of anxiety, and it's just like, so your physical health gets impacted by this. I think I mentioned this before, but it's a really real thing. Like, it's not just about your mental, it's about your emotional, and it's about your physical, it's about your spiritual. Like, everything is so interconnected within us. And so it's just like, we have to really, like, not give way to some of these folks. And as you, the person who is leaving your toxic situation, as you kind of grow, the hope and prayers that they can. I know there's some people who are just like, listen, I don't care about them. They could get left. I don't care if a bus hit them. I'm not encouraging none of that, because that's not, I mean, I walk in forgiveness over here. I do my absolute best. Um, you know what I mean? And I'm not even saying that that person don't deserve to get hit by a bus or whatever, but I'm not wishing it on them. I'm just like, you know what? I just know that, let me separate, you know, let me heal, and let me not let this um situation just to like loom over me and just be a stress factor for me and influence the way that I see things, or that I would project anything onto anybody. So that's why, I'm really encouraging all of you, and love that for all of you that are leaving these places and these people and these relationships. But that you could do it from a place of purity, and that what was lost can be restored. The pain that you felt would be completely healed. um so yeah. But yeah, don't listen, like, but yeah, just to kind of wrap up that point, like, we're not accepting people's sob stories. I think it makes for a great storyline in a villain arc of a show, but we don't, in real life, we're not going to accept we're not going to accept abuse. That should never give anyone a reason to be abusive emotionally, spiritually, physically, like, never. And so I think that we have to abandon that. Plus the apologists that, want to remind you of that too. Oh, you shouldn't have done that. I don't think you should do. Who is he going to have if you go? He should have thought about that. He should have thought about that. That's all I got to do. You know what I mean? Like, you a grown adult. Why? Why? Anyway, I'm trying to keep this again. This might end up just coming off as a rant. I don't know what it's coming off with, but it's just no. We don't, in 2024. Please, even if somebody was to get in the comment section and promise me that you won't, no, not in 2024, baby, no, no, not no more. We gonna grow in 2024, and that's why I felt like compelled to come with that heat straight out the gate, because I'm like, it's within me to help people get free. And like, I don't, because I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I don't like people going through abuse. I don't like them going through mistreatment. If I can do anything to combat that, then, you know what I mean? Like, I got to get the Vaseline going, and it's like, let's go. Cause like, I just hate it so much. And apologists, you need to know you don't help. And if you're not going to help, we pushing you to the side too. You get left. Cause not this time, not this time. You know what I mean? Like, and so yeah, this really is an encouragement. Stay the course. Go in victory. You know, my fellow freedom chaser, keep the course, and just know too, there's gonna be some other things that happen in the background too, right? That you're gonna move forward. People are not going to agree. Like, the person who you like, say that narcissist that you left, obviously is going to keep like, is not going like that. Might try to keep chasing you, try to keep calling you, or whatever it is. And then you're gonna get the apologists who try to be the connector, and they're, I mean, to reach out to you. And sometimes too, what happens is that if and I'm putting you on game. All right. I know I often say I'm not a psychologist, but honestly, the Spirit of God gave me so much wisdom. I'm like, at this point, I've been certified by Him because narcissism and all this prideful stuff, like, I've had way too much exposure to it. So at this point, like, y'all can just give me the diploma for this. But I'm putting you on game to something real quick. Sometimes behind your back, the the narcissist, the person, or the organization, that person or people is going to be asked questions. Oh, what happened to so and so? I realize you're not talking to this person, whatever. And they are going to lie. They're going to lie, 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 lie. And for me personally, that was hard because when people start coming out the side of their teeth talking crazy about you, you have something inside of you there. You're like, no, I got to defend myself. Like, what they saying? No, that ain't true. And my encouragement to you, Freedom Chaser, don't even, don't even let it be, because you know what happened. You know what happened. It can be hard because, like, you want support. You want to know that people have your back. You want to know that people hear you, and stuff like that. But there's going to be a lot of circumstances where people are not going to believe you. They're going to believe the testimony, the false testimony of these other people. And that's just going to be, if you can even call it a L, that's an L you got to take. And you just keep pushing because you want to be in freedom. Let them do whatever they got to do. It'll get handled. You know what I mean? Like, just trust it'll get handled. Trust that all the lies that they said about you, they're not going to be able to keep up with it. There's going to be a point in time where something's not going to add up. There's going to be a time, like, and this is a principle even within scripture. I don't know if whoever's watching, like, if you are a churchgoer or not, but I'm just going to say this is just a natural principle of life. Within the scriptures, it talks about how everything that's done in the dark is going to come to light. You don't got to worry. By nature of how the world is structured, that person's going to get found out. It is hard because sometimes you might get a phone call or you might get a message with from the apologist who agrees with with the person who mistreated you, and they might be trying to tell you something, like trying to come at you or rationalize with you to kind of reconnect you somehow. But it's just like, that they might say, like, oh, well, I heard you did this and you did that. Like, it's just like, what? Like, I was like, I thought you knew better than that. Like, does that even sound like me? Like, what? So you have to be okay with that. You know what I mean? And this is something that I feel like is a more recent lesson for me, of like, really, like, just like turning down the noise and just not even dealing with the apologist. I'm giving them short answers. You know what I mean? Because I'm just like, you weren't there. You are going to take the testimony of that person. And for some reason or another, their word has more clout than mine for you. So I'm not. So sometimes you got to make executive decisions and say, you know what? I've got to let them think what they're going to think. I've got to let this person kind of play their game, because that's what they want to do too. I want to let that be clear too. Like, when people do this is their way to lash out because they're losing control, and this is their way to kind of gain the control back. So if they can't control you, they want to control the narrative around you to make themselves look good. You know what I mean? Because and I understand this. For some people who do this, like narcissists who do this, I understand. This is all to distance themselves from shame. Sometimes it comes from childhood. Sometimes I understand the whole backstory, which is why I'm like, okay, and my heart goes out to them for that. But I'm just like, that still don't mean that I'm going to participate in whatever shenanigans you on. But I do see where I do see the map. I do it, and that and the backstory helps me forgive, but the backstory does not help me tolerate, and I shouldn't tolerate it. Um, so that's like, so yeah, I think like that's just a L you gotta take and just keep pushing forward. You know what happened. The truth's gonna come out. It's hard because the apologists are typically, your friends and people that you love, or, or your family sometimes. And so that can be really, really hard, because you don't feel support in that way. But you know what I mean? I think that's my encouragement to you, to just keep pushing forward. Don't let these people gaslight you. They weren't there. And even when they were there and they saw everything, they're still gonna try it. Like I'm telling you, this stuff is like at an all-time high. And it's just like it's really ridiculous. It's a prideful spirit at work. It's a spirit of narcissism at work. Um, but that's probably like one of the best things I can give you. Don't fall into the trap of the manipulation of the abuser. You know what I mean? And then I think one of the final things I want to talk about with this topic is the person who happens to be at a crossroads, the crossroads rationalizer, right? Who also tends to be the apologist. And so, what do I mean by that, right? So, somebody, right, who is experiencing stuff and they're feeling like they want to leave, but they can't. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can be an apologist for your abuser. You know what I mean? Like, like if you live especially for couples who like y'all live together, or um you you're co-parenting or something like that, in those situations where where that happens, or even if you don't live with them. I think like for those who like couples that live together, like unmarried couples that live together, or married ones, you just live together, right? Um, that's when you really get to see the ugly, because they're not, and I don't really know, I can't understand this completely. I have theories about why this is. I'll share it with you. I think like I feel like problematic people, like, or narcissists or toxic people, I think like they can't fake, they can't be fake, at least not for too long, which is why you, the romantic partner or whatever, or the person who lives with them, it's why you'll experience the brunt of all their mess. It's why you would be the emotional punch bag, and all this stuff. And then when y'all go out to an event, or a function, they're sweet. It's just like, wait a minute, hold up. What you mean? What? And then everybody thinks, ah, what an angel. It's just like, oh yeah, that's how it is. Because the devil always will masquerade as an angel of light. That's in scripture. I'm telling y'all gotta read your Bible sometimes. That's a side note. Read the Bible, read the word. I'm telling you. God's word is entirely real. You know what I mean? I'm not necessarily here to evangelize today, but y'all gotta see what's up with God and his word, because I'm telling you. Anyways, but yeah, it's just like what? And then and that's kind of like where that's where the cult apologist takes it from too. Like when they see that person in public, and then when you realize like, oh nah, like if you go ahead, you maybe haven't even broken up with that person, but you just go ahead and you tell them, you're like, oh, um, man, I've been going through so much. They're just like, no, not Gerald. I don't know who Gerald is, but oh goodness, I make myself laugh. But he'd be like, no, Gerald. Oh no, you must have done something. It's just like, me? Like, bro, like, nah, Gerald's crazy, yo. Gerald be wildin' when you not looking like Gerald, nah, yo. y'all don't really know the real Gerald. He act like he nice and he want to wash the dishes for everybody when the dinner's done, whatever. But nah, he be throwing dishes when I get home. Like, what you mean? So yeah, nah. So Gerald be on something else, and you know what I mean, like, but he will. Gerald will fake for like an hour or two, and then the mask is gonna come off. The mask is gonna come off, and you're the one, unfortunately, who gets the brunt of it, right? And so, I just yeah, so that happens. But then too, right? So this is so all over the place. I'm sorry. I know I'm jumping a lot like the different things, but it's so multi-layered. And I just wanted to like have this conversation. So like, and so even though Gerald, like so there's a situation where that Gerald is wilding. You try and tell everybody else Gerald's wilding, and then you want to go, but maybe the apologist is making you stay and saying, like, no, oh, I'll go talk to him or whatever or whatever, I don't know, whatever they be doing, right? And then you stay stuck. So that's one side of the person at a crossroads. But then there's the other side of the crossroads person who happens to be the rationalizer who realized, you know what? When I first met Gerald, he was so sweet to me. He was so sweet. He brought me roses. He took me to all my nice places. He was everything that I could have dreamed of. And then all of a sudden, some months down the line, you just like, yo, I don't even know who this person is no more. Gerald done switched up on you. And like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, what? And then, but the thing is that you remembered how good he was. You remembered when Gerald used to hold the doors for you and he wouldn't let you get out the car until he opened the door for you. As a matter of fact, he yelled at you. He was just like, no, close your door. I got you. And you remember how he used to link arms with you before you was about to go to that nice restaurant, you know what I mean? That really expensive restaurant you've been talking about that you've been wanting to go to all your life. And you know what I mean? It just, and so, and that's even on an organizational level, this happens. And I think that's how a lot of us, it's hard. It's like, I mean, it was hard to admit for a time that I was part of a cult. Like, and you know what I mean? It's hard to admit, like, yo, I was deceived at one point, but it's a truth. It's a truth. And even they do that too. Some of these really corrupt churches and corrupt organizations, they do that too. They spend a lot of time trying to get to know you, spending time with you, like, wanting to grab coffee and wanting to, get dinner or what, you know what I mean? Like, so it's just like, this is just, I'm just exposing the spirit right here. This is narcissism. I'm just exposing it for you. No matter what circumstance you're looking at, if you're looking at a friendship level, a romantic level, an institutional level, a familial level, it's the same thing for the most part. There's nuances, but it's the same playbook because it's the same spirit. So what they do, so you're gonna get the psychologists call it love bombing. You know what I mean? And so I learned a little bit of these terms because I also am interested in personality disorders, and so I do know some of the psychology language. You know what I mean? So they'll love bomb you, right? And so that's the way that they form. The form bond. They'll even get open with you. Oh yeah, man, I had a hard life, and I did, and you'll be like, oh my goodness, so sad. Like, so they do all this stuff, love bombing and trauma bonding you because they got the tragic backstory for you, and then so things are pleasant. You feel like you're connecting with these people. You feel like you're connecting or whatever, and then when they got you, when they think they got you, they switch up on you, and then they're not at some point they're not even showing you. They're not even hiding themselves from you no more. Because again, a narcissist cannot do this for long. You're gonna see their true colors. They can't hide it for long. It's not in them. They can't fake it. They can't fake it for too long. They're gonna fake it until they get what they want out of you, and then they're gonna say, "Oh, I got you." Okay. Oh, whew. Thank goodness they fell into my trap because I was so exhausted trying to pretend all day. Hmm. So that's how it is. Putting y'all on game here because I done seen some things. I done seen and been through some things. So that's how to get you, no matter what level it is. And so, um, hold on, I'm losing my train of thought. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. Oh, I'm gonna get it back. Yeah, all right, there it is. Got it back. So yeah, and so that's why so now you have trouble leaving. And so instead of you focusing on how you feel now and saying, you know what, I remember that Gerald was good to me. I remember that we had a lot of laughs. We went on some trips, whatever. But right now, I'm seeing someone different. I have tried to communicate to them. They didn't listen. They're adamant about not changing. You know, like I gotta go instead of like, when that should be your thought process, you're more so like, well, you keep looking at the past saying like, oh, well, I seen the potential. I remember the glory days. I think we can get back there. I don't want to give up on them. And so in that circumstance, you end up becoming the cult apologist. And then there's other people who are just looking at you like, girl, or hey, dude, like you, you, like, are you good? Like, you're losing weight. Um, are you okay? Like, you look so tired. Like, you look drained. You're not smiling the way that you used to. You know what I mean? Like, are things good between you and Gerald? Are things good between you and Lisa? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, they start asking questions and you're just like, no, it's good, it's good. And so sometimes you participate in your own struggle in that way. You end up becoming an apologist for the person because you know the backstory that they gave you to trauma bond you. You remembered all the good things that they was doing for you at one point in time, the regard that they had for you, the kindness that they had for you, and they just and so it's hard. You know what I mean? It's really hard sometimes for us to do that. And so I just want to say, like, sometimes you just got to sit down and be still. You got to sit down and be still and like just understand what it is that you're experiencing and not gaslight yourself. You know what I mean? Like, so you got people who could gaslight you all day, all night, but like if you're in a relationship right now like this, especially like my heart really goes out, right? Because there's been situations where like people have been like, there's been DV stuff going on, like the actual this person put their hands on you type of abuse. Sometimes it's not just psychological, sometimes it's not just emotional and you know what I mean? And so it's just like you should never ever rationalize that. That's one of the worst case scenarios that that it gets to that point. But like I just really want to, like, the person who is at a crossroads right now, like if you don't know how to do it, you know, reach out and get help. You know what I mean? This is like, I specialize in this at this point. Like, I've dealt with it's really crazy. I've realized at this point in my life, I've been dealing with narcissists all my life. All my life. To some degree, they've just been trying to loom around me. You know what I mean? And so I really do specialize in this, and I'm really, really intense about those that deal with toxic situations and stuff like that. Like I don't never want nobody to be stuck. This is let 2024 be the year that you have freedom. So whatever choice you have to make, if you've got to leave the Geralds of your life, if you got to leave that church, if you got to leave some of them toxic family members, if you got to leave that toxic friend group, if you got to leave that, because you know what too, even at the job, sometimes there be jobs that, like, shoot, y'all don't want me to start talking about nonprofits and my huge critique about that. But let me tell you, nonprofits are great, but sometimes that joint ends up being like slavery. They want you to do a whole bunch of stuff for like nothing. I'm just like, do you know where I live? Like, I was like, I gotta like have money to like live, right? Like what type of wages are these? But anyways, that might be another life. for another video because y'all don't even want me to get started on that one. We'll be here all night. Um, but yeah, it's just like, so yeah, I'm just all about people getting free. And so if you don't know which way to turn, I am a resource, but I would say just like um sometimes trusted friends could help you. If you find a good counseling professional. And again, I had said something along these lines in a previous live that you kind of got to be careful with with the therapists and the counselors. You got to like make sure you vet them well because you don't know what they're doing, and if they're just kind of trying to collect a paycheck. You also don't know, and you don't know if there's some witches, and I literally mean that. I mean, like, some people think of witches as like, the pointy hat and the crazy frayed hair, but they don't look like that. But I'm just telling you, like, sometimes, like, some of these practices and things that they might want you to do isn't actually rooted in good things. So that might sound crazy to somebody, but it's legitimate. You can do a little bit more research on that if you don't believe. But so yeah, anyways, you gotta really vet and find that right person to counsel you. But like, don't lie to yourself anymore. Don't lie to yourself. Don't let the apologist who wants to tell you it wasn't that bad, or try and tell you that you was bugging. Don't let them tell you that. Don't let them tell you that at all. Just understand how you feel, and walk in that power, because you staying stuck ain't helping you. And I think the unfortunate thing is too is the person who deters you from this type of growth, like, is also dealing with something as well. Like, you having the bravery to step away from from that cult, and they're telling you it wasn't that bad, or you didn't have to do that, or they're taking the word of a leader over yours. They too are trying to rationalize for themselves, you know what I mean? And so don't worry too much about them. Do what works for you with the utmost purity that you can. um yeah, do it for your mental health, do it for your spiritual health, do it for your actual physical health, because again, when something really weighs on you, it'll it attacks the body. It attacks the body, and you don't need to go through that. You don't deserve to go through that. And so, yeah, so don't make excuses. Don't let nobody tell you that you did not go through what you went through. You know what I mean? Like, it's real out here. And yeah, I felt like I had another point that I wanted to leave people with. I guess one last thing I can say before I close is that for those of y'all, right? And because one of the most recent things was me leaving, you know, a congregation, so I can relate to it the most. It's that I just want to challenge you, if you can receive it. That's my line these days. If you can receive it, to really think about what people are saying, because especially for those, like, I'm seeing these videos of like Jehovah's Witness leaving, and just the manipulation that was there. I'm seeing all these type of pastors and apostles and prophets getting called out today for being corrupt. Like, so I'm seeing a whole bunch of stuff. So there's a whole, like, God's airing places out, and there's a huge awakening happening in this moment. I want to caution you, before you decide to cape for that leader, cape for that corrupt whatever. Think about all the people that left. You mean to tell me that people are like leaving in like huge numbers, and you want to tell me that, like, ain't not you don't see nothing wrong with that? You don't see, not even just a little bit. You can't quite see that one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want you to sit down and actually look at what you're seeing, and don't be so quick to like be in agreement with your leaders. especially if it's been happening over the course of years that somebody said like, "Oh yeah, whatever." Like start and I'm not trying to tell you to agree with something off rip, but what I am challenging you to do is at least investigate a little bit. Don't be so quick to take their word for it because they appear to you as somebody where like 'cause that's the thing. I remember in one of my business classes in high school, they were talking about credibility and how basically credibility increases the more people are in agreement. So if you've got, it's one thing if I say, "Oh, Gerald, he's he's evil. Gerald is so evil. He's manipulative. Ah, yeah, 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 whatever." It's one thing if I say that. Maybe I just got beef with Gerald. Maybe Gerald was all right. And you'd be like, ah, that at least it's just talking. And then the second person come through, Gerald is evil and he's manipulative. He manipulated me. Then you're just like, okay, these two people, oh, okay. And then the third person, Gerald, and the fourth, Gerald. Like then when you and then you have a whole bunch of people who is like, yo, Gerald's crazy. Now you start to be like, wait a minute, right? So I just think about it before you say anything to the person who wants to grow and wants to leave, or they told you something. Just sit down and think about, man, is there something about Gerald I just don't know? Or like what am I looking at? Because especially too, right? Isn't it wild and isn't it crazy that people could, for example, leave a whole denomination? And some of these people, a lot of these people do not know each other, but people in droves are just picking up and saying, you know what, it's done with, it's over with. I don't need this. So please, like, really, really pay attention to the testimonies. Really pay attention to the numbers, because that don't make sense. That like you know, all happening. You ask questions, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, all of them are leaving God now, and all of them are so sinful. All of them are so prideful. All of them." Like that don't even make sense. If a whole bunch of people are leaving an organization, if a lot of people are leaving a movement, if a lot of people are even leaving this person that you think is so good, if they're leaving Gerald because you thought Gerald was such a sweet boy and you watched him grow up and you can't possibly believe, and there's a whole bunch of testimonies from his exes saying this. I wouldn't be so quick. I wouldn't be so quick to pass judgment and whatever. And if you're caping for people, I need you to sit down and think about your experience, because most likely what you're doing as well is you want to act like things are okay and it's not. So if I can call you forward to quit acting like it's your job and you're getting paid to defend these people, because let me tell you, you know, I keep going on tangents. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna end for real this time. Let me tell you, you working so hard for these people. If it came down to them or you, they're casting you out immediately. It doesn't even matter. And you're going to be shocked. You're going to be shocked at how easily they will sell you out. You're going to be shocked. You're going to be like, what? After all the work I did, after all the tithing I did, after all the evangelism I did, after all the hyping up of these people I did, there's no loyalty? No. Narcissists have no loyalty to nobody but themselves. I need y'all to know that. And so I really could talk about this all day, and maybe at some point, like you'll hear. I'll probably be on a similar topic again, because like the war against this spirit, it seems to be it's definitely ongoing, and I'm determined to see it fall. So that's really all I got to say. And again, it wasn't super organized. It was really just me sharing thoughts with you. And so, yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, whatever. If it was helpful to you, please do. Keep supporting me. Feel free. Also, I don't think I have it in the description, but I will put it in just ways that you can connect with me if you are looking to speak with me some more, connect with me some more. Any inquiries about life coaching with me, I'm definitely happy to do it. I might be your unconventional life coach, but I might be the one that you need because I'm not because we all going. I feel like we're all going through like similar things, and I just I'm somebody who want to keep it real and want to keep it a buck with you all day, every day, and really give you the help that you need, the tools that you need to really just be able to navigate these things and heal and just thrive. So, anyways. Love all of y'all. Thank you so much for your support. Again, if it helps somebody, share it. And yeah, baby girl will catch you on the next stream.